Hi, I'm Trisha, and this is my story. I was born into a super rich family. My dad owns the largest store in the country, and my two brothers were billionaires as well. My long blonde hair and blue eyes caught the attention of everyone whenever I went out with my dad.
Wow, your daughter is so beautiful.
People would shower me with all sorts of gifts. I loved it a lot. I mean, who wouldn't, right? I would always want to go out with Dad, but he wouldn't let me and he had his reasons. I was the only girl in the family. My mom left when I was a baby. When she left, Dad said I became really sick. I was taken to the best hospital in the country. I spent a year in the hospital and eventually I got better. Since then, my dad and brothers walked on eggshells around me, and they spoiled me silly. They bought me the most expensive gifts. My dad even got me the most expensive necklace in the world. I love them, but sometimes they do too much. The only person who treated me like a normal kid was Jerry, our next door neighbor. Jerry and I were inseparable growing up, and we had the best time together. When people made fun of my long blonde hair, Jerry always defended me. We would always play silly pranks on my brothers and laugh as the pranks played out. That all changed when Jerry's parents decided to move to another country. Jerry's mom got a sweet fashion deal in Paris and they had to move. It took me a while to make friends in high school. Even though I was the prettiest girl in school, I had gotten so used to Jerry that I couldn't just flow with any other person. One day, I was on YouTube watching my favorite series when I stumbled upon a channel. And it was Jerry's. He'd gotten so big and handsome. Meanwhile, I'd gotten into a national beauty pageant and I was one of the favorites to win. That was all my dad talked about. I would always feel the pressure choking me when I went to school. Diane, the only person I was able to bond with at school, noticed and tried to take the pressure off. We went to my favorite restaurant and she got me my favorite meal. And just as I munched on the food, the cutest guy walked in. Every lady in the restaurant stared and was in awe as he sat by the window. He looked at me and with a gorgeous smile, he winked. My face turned red and my heart raced as he winked. Just as we were about to leave the restaurant, I bumped into the cute guy.
You should watch where you're going. I should be the one falling, not you.
Why would you fall?
I would fall for you, of course.
I giggled in excitement as my face turned red. I looked at Diane who was already dancing in the corner.
I'm Brian. How have I not seen such a beautiful creature like you around here before?
You didn't look closely enough. See you around. And we went out of the restaurant. Since then, I met Brian every time I went to the restaurant. He would come over to me and we would start talking. Turns out, he was pretty funny and smart. I became so fond of him and we spent even more time together. I began to really like him. My brothers, even my dad, really liked him too.
He is the son of the wealthiest man in the country. We need the connection, honey.
He helped me with the preparation for the beauty pageant, and with time, we became a power couple in school. Apparently, there's this girl Mila who was also a candidate in the pageant and was obsessing over Brian.
I don't know what he sees in you.
Things he doesn't see in you, apparently. She did everything to ruin us, but she failed miserably. One day I got to school, and I got the biggest shock in my life. Jerry was there talking to my classmates. Jerry, what are you doing here? We talked and was catching up with each other. Brian saw us and moved me away from Jerry.
Who is he?
Oh, this is Jerry. We were close friends when we were much younger, but he's a huge star now.
Huge star? How come I've never heard of him? Don't mind Trisha here. I'm just a chef.
What are you doing here though?
Oh, I moved back here. My mom wants to spend more time in this place and I miss this place as well.
Turns out, Jerry moved back and I was so excited. We said goodbye to Jerry and Brian was obviously jealous. The wonderful memories I shared with Jerry growing up rushed back to me as he smiled at me. Jerry came to my place after school and we spoke for a long time. He told me all about Paris, how he learned to cook, and how he became a teenage sensation overnight. Just as Jerry was about to leave, Brian walked in.
Oh, Jerry's here. I was on my way already. Let me leave you two alone. Good night.
Brian and I spent time together, but all I could think about was Jerry. As time went by, I was spending more time with Jerry and I began to realize just how funny and smart he was. Whenever his brown eyes would stare at me, my heart would melt and I get butterflies in my stomach. I was falling for him, and I loved it. Brian, on the other hand, had been buying me nice gifts since Jeremy came back. A few days before the beauty pageant, Mila accused me of stealing her bag.
She would never do that.
Yes, she did, and I have the proof. She stole my expensive bag and hid it in her locker. I saw her when she did it.
You're such a liar. Why would I steal your cheap bag?
Why don't we find out if I'm a liar or not then? Open your locker.
To my biggest surprise, they found Mila's bag in my locker.
You are hereby disqualified from the beauty pageant and you must serve detention for a week.
I ran out of the principal's office crying. Everyone would think I'm a thief, and they wouldn't believe me anymore. Jerry walked over the shadows and came to me.
Hey, are you okay?
Leave me alone, Jerry. I know you think I'm a thief as well.
I could never think of you like that. I know very well you are not a thief.
I'm glad you believe me, because no one else in this school does, including Brian. I really hated Mila, but Jerry was there to lift my spirit up. I continued my preparation for the pageant with Jerry. Some days before the pageant, the school found out that Mila planted a bag in my locker just to get me kicked out of the pageant. She confessed after she was caught trying to pull the same trick on one of the other contestants. She was suspended and I was called back in for the pageant, just like Jerry had predicted.
You'll be fine, Trisha. This is what you trained for, and I am so proud of you.
Oh, what would I do without you? The day came and I was well prepared for it. I wore my finest gown. Dad had just gotten it for me and it looked absolutely gorgeous. Jerry, Dad, and my brothers were there to support. Also, I nailed the many questions I was asked and felt my confidence building as the show went on. After what seems like an eternity, it was time to decide the winner. We all held hands and hoped for the best. I was so nervous at first, but I continued to do my best and I won. I was the happiest, but out of nowhere, Brian grabbed me by the arm. Luckily, Jerry arrived on time and saved me. Brian ran off and cried like a baby. We celebrated my win. Dad was so proud and I was so happy. In the end, me and Jerry became a couple and a few years later, he proposed to me.